President, Minister Home Affairs. My task this afternoon is simple and sweet, course review. But before I go into the course review, I would like to quote the voice from the Bible. According to the Gospel, Matthew 22, verse 14, it says, many are called, but few are chosen. Today show testimony of those words. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to undergo training. After 3 weeks of extensive training, one can safely say the appropriate time had dawned for Tactical Enhancement Training 2021, which will help officers execute their duties having adequate equipment. The training commenced on the 8th of November 2021 to members of the Guyana Police Force, particularly to ranks from 4A Division. These courses span for a week duration, where 3 batches of ranks were identified for classroom and practical session conducted at the Felix Austin Police Training College under the guidance and supervision of Miss Joanne Van Putten, Roger Van Putten, Keon Matheson, Mario Baldwin, and Nigel Collymore. The focus was on emergency first aid, communication, and conflict management, CCTV awareness, physical intervention techniques, application of handcuff, and safe use and defensive baton. The officers that graduate this training are now equipped with knowledge and skills to go forth and perform their job with due diligence to boost the effectiveness of this noble organization and fulfill its mandate. Acknowledgement must be made to Superintendent Barker, who was the course coordinator. This was done in a very smooth and effective manner. The mess crew, who worked to ensure we were all provided with healthy meals and snacks, will make us feel more at home, away from home. This has helped to make the training conducive. Graduate, I encourage you to go forth, apply this training progressively to your best of ability, which will in return do the Guyana Police Force proud. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Dalu. And of course, indeed, I'm happy that you were able to give us a review so what you, the participants, went through over the last 3 weeks. Again, this event could not have been made possible without the help and without the strategic partnership of stakeholders. And you would have heard it already from the commander that we've had a lot of help. And this really and truly shows that without the partnership with members in our society as well as stakeholders, we, the police, cannot, really and truly cannot fight crime by ourselves. And it shows that that partnership must be something that is solid. This afternoon, we will have an individual who have had some problems with the pronunciation of his name, but I do hope I do justice without butchering it. It's Roseanne Sheriff. who will now join me at the lectern to give a few remarks, and in so doing, will hand over the equipment you've seen in front of you to Mr. Nigel Hoppy, DSM. So please help me welcome Mr. Sheriff.
Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, stakeholders, comrades, and fellow citizens, good afternoon. We at SAB Mining Security Service are pleased working hand in hand with the Guyana Police Force to alleviate crime rate in Guyana. As such, our generous donation is the first initiative we thought of to show our support and effort to combat all forms of crime threatening our country. We believe that capacity building and monetary donations are aids that are strongly needed to tackle the fight. Hence, we remain committed to assisting in any way possible to improve the task force to get the job done. Thank you.
I will now like to invite the Commissioner. And I will now invite the Minister as well as the Commander. Thank you very much. Please give them a round. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff, and of course your company who would have made this possible. The task is now mine to invite another distinguished gentleman who is currently sitting at the helm of this noble organization. One who has and continued to be academically achieved. Note, if I stand here and list all of it again, we will not have enough time here. So, he is a leader and of course a father figure who always engages the most senior to the most junior of rank with meaningful conversations. And so, the pleasure is all mine to please ask you to join me in welcoming the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Nigel Hoppy, DSM.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies, Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Bindley Horatio Robertson, Commander of Regional 4A, Mr. Simon Naveen, Assistant Commissioner of Police, members of the training staff, that's the Force Training Officer, and other senior and junior ranks of the Guyana Police Force, participants or graduates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm very appreciative of this opportunity to make a few remarks at this closing of the Tactical Enhancement Training Program. First, let me express sincere gratitude on behalf of the Guyana Police Force to the officials of SAB, Mining Security Service, particularly Mr. Barry O'Rourke and Mr. Rosen Sheriff, for donating to the police force a quantity of equipment that included baton holders, handcuff, ballistic vest and magazine, radio pouches. These are all pertinent and essential to patrol unit, as well as for sponsoring the training program. I also wish to commend the Divisional Commander, Regional 4A, Mr. McBean, for the foresight in conducting this type of training program with the aim of improving the tactical efficiency and professionalism of patrol ranks, which at the same time will certainly enhance the capacity of members of the force in the delivery of quality service to the public. The maintenance of the safety and security is sine qua non for state. And towards this end, the government has placed the acquisition of the necessary resources by the police force on the front burner. In maintaining a safe environment and cognizant of the desire in communities countrywide for greater police presence, the force was recently provided with a number of motor vehicles in order to boost our mobility and improve our patrol system. However, while we are now more visible in communities and responding better to reports, and we will be even more so during this Christmas season, owing to the force's strategic plan that was launched on November 15 and will continue throughout this period until January 15, 2022. We have to be professional and courteous in our interactions with members of the public so that we can garner public confidence in improving our public image and motivate public support that is a prerequisite for good policing. I'm encouraged and cautiously optimistic after perusing the list of integral subject matters dealt with on the training program, which was done over 3 weeks period and included, among other things, baton training, handcuff restraints, arrest techniques, conflict management, and other areas supportive of unarmed intervention in situation by police ranks. I note that unarmed combat and training in the use of non-lethal devices form part of the program. Unarmed combat, which is on the curriculum for the recruit training, is a necessary technique for the police, as this would assist to overcome antagonistic situations while avoiding a resort to the use of higher level of force on the police continuum. In closing, I would like to congratulate the instructors from Division 4A, along with those that I've already mentioned, for imparting their knowledge and skill to the 6th-tier ranks who completed the Tactical Enhancement Program, and urge that it be extended to other policing divisions, focusing more particularly on patrol units. I thank you.
Commissioner, as you relinquish the cap of Commissioner speaking, I would now like to invite you to introduce the Honorable Minister.
My simple but very significant task is to introduce a man who has been at the helm of the organization for the last year or so. He's no stranger to us, but let me be brief that he held ministerial portfolio prior to the one he's now holding. He has contributed significantly to the economic benefits from the extractive industry. He was a former chairman of the Geology and Mines Commission. He studied in Germany, University of Guyana, and in Canada. He is an advocate for keeping the peace. He's an advocate for police professionalism. He's an advocate for the delivery of timely service. The individual of whom I speak is no other than the Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Robes Norrishagan. So I invite you to the podium.
Please sit. Thank you, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Nigel Hoppy, Commander 4A Division, Mr. Simon McBean. I want to recognize the contributions of Mr. and Mrs. Van Houten, Mr. Sheriff, coming from the SAB Mining and Security Service for their donations, particularly for the impartation of training from EFS. And I want to particularly say at this time that there shouldn't be much for me to say in respect of all the things we've heard, because I think when I first stood here as minister, I said some things along these lines which we have to adopt, which we have to bring a change in the way we put our service and protection forward to the public we have to serve in respect of our integrity and professionalism, in respect of how we're seen by the public in securing our country, but also securing ourselves first as police, as persons who are out there on the front line and who we rely so much on while you're doing this onerous task, an unforgiving task in many situations. And I've said here previously about the situations in which we find ourselves coupling with the public, being assaulted by the public. Some persons, the miscreants, are criminals indeed. Mr. McBean spoke of them, and how great a risk we face because our standards have fallen, and how much we needed to bring our standards up to a level where we can adequately perform the duties for which we've signed on to do. So I'm very happy that I was the point person to push this initiative forward, and I wanted to commend Mr. McBean for pushing this forward. I want to particularly commend him for that, and also to recognize the efforts of the force training officer, Mr. Bacchus and Mr. Barker, and all those who facilitated and worked to get this result in this event today. As was said, even while we have our normal challenges, we have a situation where we are on the cusp of important developments in our country. We talk about the oil and gas now. We still talk about developments in the mining sector and new efforts in the agricultural sector. We want to bring a more united, a more improved, a more self-sustaining country, Guyana. We want to naturally, of course, hand over a better life and a better future to the next generation, to our children. We want to prepare that way. But as we say, when you are on the cusp, as I talk about people who go surfing, you could fall over and wipe out, or you could ride the wave to get to a point where you are successful. And so the type of training we are refreshed with, we are imparted with, the exercises we do are important along this pathway. We've talked about issues of integrity in policing. We've talked about where we've fallen down sometimes. We've talked about being more empathetic with the public with whom we deal with. We've talked about the questions of letting the police and our forces look more like Guyana. There was talk about diversity in the presentation by Mr. Van Kooten. And we continue to note where we have to make significant improvement. I have shared with the Commissioner and others some photos and some issues which make us still very unhappy. I talked about us having persons sleeping on the concrete floor and newspapers in the jails. We don't want that. I've talked about we must not get to the point where we're so frustrated that we make our activity or engagement with the public personal. Our job is professional and not personal. And we always have to be reticent, to hold back any inspiration, any vexations we have, so that we could avoid reacting in a very poor manner in respect of dealing with the public. It's very challenging out there. It's dangerous. They're not only the questions of people having guns, young fellows motivated or given guns to make a hustle, make money by other people who are seasoned criminals, but there are also people out there with knives on them, and you always have to be perhaps afraid. And although I said here that you're a police person 24/7, I know sometimes that police persons will pack up their uniforms in the afternoon and go home and not appear to be a police person in the minibuses or the taxis, because it's dangerous and you could be targeted. But this type of training will bring us to the point as we go along to having better confidence, to having the assertiveness, to having the ability to communicate, as was said, to call for help, to have the situational awareness in respect of the environment in which we find ourselves, to prepare for the situation, the new situation which is upon us. We heard about questions impending perhaps of kidnapping, even with all the challenges we face. We have the ongoing issues in relation to transnational crimes. We have migrants and others who are entering our country who have experiences of other crimes which they will bring to our country. We have the questions on the frontiers at Etringbang and other places where we're facing off with very risky situations. And so the only way we can get better at this is to work more, to study more, to develop our techniques more, and at the level of personal combat training as to how to react to the situation and to be better prepared and to protect ourselves as police persons, as the frontline individuals. I keep saying, you are the tip of the spear in terms of our national development and security. And you have to be able to protect yourself, because if you can't protect yourselves, you can't protect us. If there's a failure in your protecting yourselves, you can't protect the rest of us and the public, the people who depend so much on the work of the police force, in spite of all the challenges and criticisms and, well, you know what we think of and what we are aware of. We're also faced with, as was said, questions of new perspectives on human rights, new approaches to the issues of gender-based violence, new questioning of our practices in relation to violence against women and children. So we have to be more multi-skilled, more multi-talented, more open to other cultures and challenges. We have to take the opportunity sometimes to go back, perhaps even when we went to school, when we were more culturally embedded. When we were more culturally embedded in terms of our Guyanese culture, in respect of how we have grown up and have come up. So, I'm very happy that we are at this point today. I look forward to those who would have been trained to becoming trainers, to train others, to impart their knowledge, to impart the discipline, the assertiveness and integrity, and to continue to refresh and review these very issues amongst yourselves with your squaddies of the course. And also, I want to particularly thank the SAB Mining for the donations to the Guyana Police Force and to the trainers from TFS for imparting their knowledge, their expertise, their training to us. Because, as I said before, we have to have new police. We have to have new police. We have to renew our training, our knowledge, and bring it all together to have new policing and new police. We have talked about engagements in the communities to intercept, to point out situations where we may have worsening experiences in the communities and we need to intercept those. We have talked about launching programs in respect of increasing the peace in Guyana, increasing the peace in Guyana. We have been successful so far in reducing overall crime, serious crime, by 20%. I wish it could have been more. But we know where we have to tackle the issues, disorderly crimes and other situations. We know what we have to tackle. We know that we have to confront the issues of drug smuggling and gun running and all those issues in the communities. I am confident and I know that we can do this job. I'm very confident that we can do this job. We have to keep tweaking it and improving ourselves and critiquing ourselves where we have failings and to learn from those failings. So, thank you very much for the support, Mr. Van Kooten, Mr. Sheriff, and all the other facilitators. We would like to find ways of remaining engaged, and I want to thank those who partook in the training for the attention they would have given, and to encourage you all that we should work harder to improve the situation in which we find ourselves so we could have a better and more secure Guyana. Thank you very much.
Simple.